This is going to be my final video. I think there's another. I cut down that whole thing. I broke another piece. I mean, I've cut probably. Seems like I cut six and break one. I don't know what it is. Maybe I've cut about eight there. But this glass, I think this is newer glass than the other glass I was cutting. Uh, I don't know what. It's just weird. The old glass that I took out of the window, I think I broke one of those too, but it seemed to cut different. This one has a lot of flakes coming out of it when I cut it. It just leaves a lot of residue, a lot of small piece residue, and it doesn't cut the same all the way through. So I think what this is like a newer glass and maybe cheap glass. Not saying that cheap glass is better than expensive, because somebody might buy cheap glass and just turn around and put a top price on it. I'm not sure. I'm not saying this is tempered, because I know it ain't tempered, because they say you can't cut tempered glass without it shattering. So what I think is it's just the temperature that this was made at wasn't an even temperature all the way across, and so the variation through it just chips wider, and it's just more prone to. It seems like it's more prone to have a fracture in it than it is to just break clean. Although I've been breaking this whole piece clean, it's I think the temperature. If you're looking for glass, you might, instead of buying cheap glass, if you're going to cut it, you might look to go to maybe instead of like, I don't know, I haven't cut this glass that I got from I got it from Menards. I don't know if it's maybe it wasn't cheap. It was $22, so it's not cheap. But whether it's a decent glass, I don't know. Uh, but this is, I'm guessing that what was in the windows is '60s glass, and this is probably '70s glass, because I'm guessing he probably started replacing glass in the '70s maybe, for some whatever reason. And he got sheets of this and cut it, and it was left up there because he probably bought something else, because he just kept running into uh, trying to cut this, and it was breaking. I'm guessing. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know, but it's just cutting weird, and it's breaking. And when I'm pinning it with my with the little round end, when I'm pinning it, it just makes a wider track, where the other glass I was cutting, it just fractured. It's kind of like got a track in there where there's like it's almost like two pieces. I don't know if you can't really see that wheel, but for some reason it's like cuts. Maybe it's the centerpiece and it cuts to the side or something, but it's like there's two tracks, and then when you start tapping it, in between those two tracks is clear, and then when you could see it, it turns like a shatter inside there, and that's where you know it's clean. Because I've been starting to see if I can just put pressure on these a little bit to break them, and I'm afraid that the longitude, as long as this thing is, because the shorter it is, you get a real. If I just cut across it, I cut all day. But it's these long pieces that are causing the trouble, and I think it depends on possibly glass. Now I'm not saying. I mean, it could be hotter. It could have been hotter on one side and then cool. Different temperature throughout the glass when they made it. Just because it's melted doesn't mean that there was different temperatures. So that would have possibly created a different brittleness throughout. It's glass, but I don't think it is. I think it's like metal. You can temper it. I'm not saying this is tempered, but it did have to get to a melting point, and I think that's what the problem is. It might have been some cheap glass, just got to get on sale or something, because maybe people couldn't cut it. So maybe don't buy glass that's on sale. Maybe that's what it is. So that's my this is my last video for this, because I don't think I can say anything more. I don't know if I've learned all I can learn. I don't know. I'm just going to continue cutting this. I got probably one, two, maybe 2 or 3 more cuts on this. And then I'm going to try my bot glass to cut it to the window. Hopefully I can get 2 cuts without breaking something. But hopefully it's decent glass. I'll find out when I run the blade down it, and how it sounds and how it splinters and stuff as you run the blade down it. You can see the glass. The older glass, it didn't have shatter. It didn't have a lot of garbage coming off the window. This one is having a lot of not shards, but they're just like little pieces like this, and they're just like all the way down. So I don't know what it is. I think it's cheap glass. It had different temperatures in it, and probably caused a lot of people to say, "Hey, this glass is not cutting right," and so they put it on a sale. And probably back in the 70s. So I'd say don't buy cheap glass. And yeah, okay. This is my last video, number 12, I think it is, in my volume of glass cutting. I hope you do better than I do.